Hey guys, Compass here. So I finished most of the changes to the new Voice Attack Task Force profile setup. So I'm going to go ahead and uh, describe how to install it. So Voice Attack Lite, or the trial version that lasts 21 days, you can only have one profile. I believe I have a light profile set up for that. It's just basic ship commands. But the biggest issue is that um, well, the biggest way to set it up is you need to have the full version. So the full version allows you to have multiple profiles. In this case, multiple profiles are required, and it's kind of complicated to set it up. So I'm going to go ahead and explain how to do that. I think there's 7 or so profiles. I'm going to go ahead and import a bunch of them. So you're going to have to do, you can get the zip file. Once I create it, it'll probably be in the download link in this video. We got to import, let's see, there's battleship mode. There's obviously a mode for every ship. Pretty self-explanatory what those are. And then there's also a few extra ones that are required for every ship to make sure that it's easy to transition between all of them. So you just got to import, I think, all 7 of them. So you switch over to harbor mode pretty quickly. And you can go to edit profile here, and you'll see that this is probably the first change you have to make is all these modes that are defaulted to like battleship mode, switching between modes, you have to manually edit them. So you go ahead and edit. Obviously this one's battleship mode, so you edit and switch this to battleship mode. Pretty easy. Then you go ahead and do this for all of them. Unfortunately, it doesn't transfer well through the distributable. But you just, for each one, you select it and make sure it corresponds to the correct ship type. And then you should be good to go for switching modes here. And there's one more you have to do. So first of all, you have to edit harbor mode to get all 4 modes to properly switch the correct mode. And then that's it for harbor mode. Next up, you go to standard commands, and you go to edit, and harbor mode, switching mode is also in need of fixing. So set this one to actually go to harbor mode. So those are the profile linkings. So we can go ahead and switch between, or at least switch 2 modes. The other thing you need to do is set up the references. So standard commands, if you look at these, are basically full speed ahead, everything like that. All ships have this. There's also direct combat, which if you look at it is load AP, load high explosive, load armor piercing, all the stuff, salvo fire, fire, so on. This needs to be set up so you can hit this checkbox over here to reference standard commands. So any ship that takes direct combat role can also get the standard commands going. Standard commands needs to reference harbor mode. Yeah, this is kind of weird. So standard commands references harbor mode, direct combat references standard commands. Then we have to go to each individual ship profile. So battleships, obviously you can't just control the ship with only these 2 commands. References direct combat, so that pulls direct combat and the other 2 in. Carrier mode is the only unique one in that takes standard commands because it has no HE or other stuff like that. The other 2, cruiser and destroyer, also take direct combat module. And I went ahead and added all the special things like smoke for most of the ships. So, I mean, destroyer and cruiser are pretty much interchangeable almost, except I don't want to mess with the buttons. So once you have all that set up, basically you set up the profiles, you set up the references from standard commands to direct combat, harbor mode to standard commands, and then the individual ship types to their modes, and then it's ready to go. And all you have to do is go to your game. We're going to start off in harbor mode, and by default it'll be on. But you can say stop listening. Damn, I shouldn't have said that much. Stop listening. And it'll stop listening, and you'll be able to not have to worry about activating commands. Then you can start it up by saying start listening. And then from here you can switch to any of the modes. So I can just go ahead and activate it for this carrier over here.
Autopilot mode enabled.
Carrier mode.
Switching to carrier mode.
And it'll tell you which one it switches to. so you know you're not in the wrong mode. Battleship mode.
Switching to battleship mode.
Cruiser mode.
Switching to cruiser mode.
Destroyer mode.
Switching to destroyer mode.
And harbor mode. Keep forgetting to pause between that. Harbor mode.
Switching to harbor mode.
So harbor mode is the one you want to go to if you don't want to accidentally activate commands. You can from here, say stop listening or start listening or switch to any of the ships. And you can switch to any of the ships from any other ships. Perfectly fine. Carrier mode.
Switching to carrier mode.
Task Force 45. Move. So basically, once you get used to it, you'll probably want to do some co-op battles just so you understand how all the fancy commands work. Otherwise, you might get a little confused. I wouldn't say initially start off random battling with this because there's a slight learning curve, especially if you haven't used a control scheme like this, just to make sure everything works properly. Yeah, also, if you didn't set up right, you wouldn't be able to switch between modes. Move. Then manual. Cancel manual. Move. Move. Then manual. Move. Cancel manual. You can do some pretty sneaky stuff like that. It's a little slow on the response time, but I mean, once you get used to it, it shouldn't be that bad. I'm actually surprised that weird effect is like that. Task Group 67. Task Force 67. Move. Task Force 23. Move. I mean, once you do that, pretty easy to go. Anyways, download link should be in this video's description. It's a MediaFire link. Also, I'm going to state this right now. If you want to edit it or release your own changes, go ahead, make your own changes, release it. It'd be nice if you gave me credit and when you release it, and don't say it's all your work if it isn't. But feel free to do whatever with it you want. If you want to make like a special setup and like you want me to host it, I can look over it and try it out. And if it works fine, I can put it as part of the main build and release that. Basically, this is just like an open community project for anyone who's interested in doing some basic macro development for people who may not be able to enjoy carriers because of disabilities, or want to try something different. It's also something something you can do if you want to try something different. But yeah, all you have to do to be able to install this is buy a full version of Voice Attack for, I think, $7. It's pretty cheap. It's really dependable as long as you have a microphone. Task Group, god damn it. Task Force 67. Manual. Move. It's just really fun to do sometimes, just using your voice and not even using your mouse. Like, that was a pretty cool shot. It wasn't going to blow up the Erie, but lots of interesting ways to play the game when you add this in. Anyways, that's it for this video. Feel free to leave a comment. I honestly don't care if you like the video or not anymore. But yeah, subscribe, spread the news. If you know someone who can benefit from this, let them know about it for sure. Suggestions, comments, ideas, let me know. All right, see you guys next time.